a lot of the times we say we want to be the best at something, or we want this big goal of ours to come true. But when we are faced with any sort of difficulty, we begin to complain. Isn't this what we wanted? Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Quick intermission. I actually am filming a bunch of consecutive podcasts today, and I realized how bad my hair looked, so I had to go fix it. Yeah, I definitely need to get a haircut soon, man, because it's looking pretty bad. But I just want to get into this podcast because I think it's very important, and it could help you, the person listening right now. So the biggest thing I see is that many people want to do great things, but the second they are faced with some sort of trial, they give up. That is what I'm here to talk about today, right? And I think it's just when the reality kicks in, because I am the type of person that believes that anything that you can put your mind to, you can find a way to accomplish that thing. But is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. Is it going to be easy to build a good physique? Absolutely not. Is it going to be easy to build a great business? Nope. Is it going to be easy to grow a personal brand on social media? Of course not. Not only does it take a substantial amount of work, discipline, effort, knowledge, trying to adapt to what happens in those things. For example, if you're building a physique and you were building that before COVID, when COVID struck and the gyms were closed, you had to adapt in order to get workouts in and to keep on progressing with your physique, right? So there's so many aspects of what it takes to accomplish something or to be great at something, right? But the reality is that when the reality of how difficult it's going to be kicks in, most people start to complain, and then once they complain for a little while, they end up giving up. So we need to, in my opinion, start being more realistic with what is expected of you for the goals that you are setting for yourself, right? Because I don't like people that limit themselves. I don't think you should ever limit yourself with your capabilities. I believe that if you could set your mind to something, you could find a way to achieve it if that's what you really want to do. So, that part, I don't think you should be realistic. You should focus on achieving great things and focus on doing things that many people might look at as impossible. But what we need to be realistic with is what is it going to take to get that goal, to accomplish that goal? You know, for example, it's becoming Mr. Olympia. When I first discovered working out and I first discovered bodybuilding, there was a part of me at 14 years old that said to myself, one day I want to be Mr. Olympia. And obviously, that was a delusional thought coming from a 14-year-old because there's plenty of people on the stage with 20 years experience and they can't even crack the top 10, right? So, and they're amazing bodybuilders. But the thing is that was like a delusional thought because I was not putting into consideration what it took to even get to even grasp it, to even just get a little bit closer. What does it take? It takes a lot of hard training, a lot of consistency over decades of time. It's not going to happen in 2 years. It takes, steroids, it takes PEDs, it takes all these things. And, someone might say they want to bodybuild, they want to, become a pro bodybuilder. And then the second they, get last at a show, or they realize that they're not putting on as much muscle as they thought they would after a year or 2 years of training, they immediately like quit on the goal, right? And that was me with bodybuilding. I realized how much dedication and how much time you need to put into the sport in order to become great at it. And I am not willing to, I guess, surround my whole entire existence to do that. right? But I respect everybody that does. So it's focusing on that. It's focusing on the long term goal, but also having the expectations that it's going to be difficult. Let's take a quick break to speak about the sponsor for the podcast. I am now working with a company called Attilius Apparel, and if you want Christian fitness wear that looks like this, or this, click the link in the description. Now let's get back into the podcast. And it's going to take a lot of work. And you're going to feel bad sometimes. You're going to feel like, why am I even doing this? I want to quit. You're going to feel like that. It's normal. But you have to accept those feelings because you know they come with the journey that you are on, right? It's, for example, building a business. Like I'm building a business right now, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes, a lot of times doing things that you don't want to do. You're tired. You just want to rest. You don't want to go out. You don't want to, do your marketing or whatever it might be. You don't want to wake up early. For example, me right now, I have to go to the gym at 4 a.m. Before it was more of a want to thing because I wanted my day to be full. But it's actually, um, now it's actually I have to. If like Mondays through Thursdays, if I don't go to the gym in the morning, I am not going at all, right? So no longer is it I want to go at 4 a.m. because I want to make the most out of my days. It's no, you have to go at 4 a.m. because if you don't go at 4 a.m., you're not going at all. And there's plenty of days where even something as much as I love the gym, I wake up and I don't want to do it. But that is the reality of building a physique, is you're going to go through times where other things are going to be more important in your life. Are you still going to show up? Are you still going to go to the gym? Are you still going to train hard? That is what matters. It's not the moments where everything is easy. The thing we need to realize is that nothing great happens without sacrifice, right? Everything that you want right now is on the other side of you sacrificing something else. I love this sort of philosophy, and I learned it from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and it's the law of equivalent exchange. In order to gain one thing, you must lose another. And we could use that as practical advice for us in person, us in our own personal lives, I mean, is, if you want to start going to the gym early, and you want to start your day earlier because you want to have more time to do the things you want to do, you have to sacrifice staying up late. You can no longer stay up late if that is something that you are doing. You have to go to bed earlier, right? So you need to realize that if you aren't reaching the goals you want right now, it is because you are not sacrificing something else. And only when you are able to come to terms with that and sacrifice the thing that's holding you back from what you currently want, that is only the time where stuff will start to change. Another thing is, on the other side of difficulty is everything that you've been asking for, right? Because it is difficult to consistently show up for yourself when no one else is forcing you to. That's the beautiful thing I love about entrepreneurship, is that it is the complete opposite of what we're taught. In school, you only ever did your homework, or you only ever did the test or whatever it might have been because the teacher told you to do it. It wasn't because you sought out for that test. You sought out for that more, studying. And obviously, I'm not saying this, when you're in high school, when you're in university, you are more solo. You are more doing that on yourself, and you have to hold yourself accountable. But when you're in elementary school, everything was, told for you to do. You would never have done a test in elementary school if you didn't have to. You would always say no, right? But that's the thing I love about entrepreneurship, is you have to seek out these tests, right? I spoke about it in the last podcast. I was very sick last week. I could not film any podcasts. So what do I do to push myself today? I had 5 podcasts to do. One of them I had to reschedule because something popped up for me, but now I'm doing 4. I had 4 podcasts to do, and I had to push myself to do them all because I had, you know, I hadn't done any last week. And that's the whole idea of pushing yourself and seeking out difficulties that don't exist. Because I didn't have to film 5 podcasts today. I'm the one that decided to. So you know that the difficulty in seeking it out is very important. The next thing you guys need to do is stop complaining by catching yourself every time you do it. I go back to this because, like I said in the beginning, we say we want things, and then the second they arrive into our life, we start complaining about them, right? So we need to start catching ourselves every time we complain. There was this cool, you know, uh, I guess mental test or way to stop complaining is that you would wear a bracelet on one wrist, and every time you would complain, you would switch it to the next one, and it would kind of be a mental note. Hey, I just complained again, so I switch it, right? But even you don't have to do something like that where it's as practical as switching a bracelet constantly. You can also do something as simple as with a friend, tell them every time you catch me complaining, point it out. Because you don't realize how much you actually complain on a day-to-day basis unless you are focused on it, or unless you are trying to point it out, you're actively trying to be better with it. If you just say to yourself, I'm going to start complaining less, it won't be as easy as that because it is such a bad habit. You need to either find a practical way to stop doing it as much, and I think the best way is something like that, where it's like a key indicator that every time you complain, you do a physical motion, you switch the bracelet. Or you could just have a friend, and every time you're speaking with them and you end up complaining, they point it out for you. I just want to kind of, I guess, say this to kind of close out the pod, but this is the path that you wanted, and you must accept everything that you must face. The second you put something out into the universe and you say you want something, you are telling yourself that that is what you want, right? So once you're able to do that, you need to accept that every single thing that you're going to be faced with is going to be difficult, but you can overcome it, because if you really want it that bad, you'll find a way to maneuver those obstacles in your path. So if this is what you wanted and this is what you set out for, you must not complain and you must just face it. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast and making it this far. If you enjoyed it, remember to follow us on Spotify. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Let me know in the comments what has been the most impactful episode of the Insightful Podcast so far, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Crush a cold to a diamond, eyes forever shining. Your beauty alone inspire a nigga to rhyming.